Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy the video today. Today, we're going to go through every game of this weekend, my predictions on the game, and just little touching talking points of how each team is going before their matchup, and probably keys to how they're going to win these games over the weekend. So, thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. Let's get straight into the video. So, first game of the weekend, we got the Dolphins versus the Rabbits at Suncorp Stadium. This game is going to be a fucking belter of a game. I can just really feel it. It's going to be the Wayne Bennett Cup as we all know it. First off, touching on the Dolphins and coming off a great win last week, 32-22 in a really dominant performance in the first half. Kind of brought it all the way back in the second, but I thought that was just coming off the Cowboys really clicking in the gear and trying to bring this game back. I want to touch on, like, obviously the main people that everyone's touching on at the moment, which is the Sarko, the Hammer. I think those two have been fucking amazing for the Dolphins. Both of them had like a couple of like question marks over in the start of the year. Asako is turning back into a really good winger, and he's just consistently doing very well at the moment. Very surprising. Not surprising. I do love to see Asako do very well because he's got the skill. It's just more consistency with that man. The Hammer is turning into a great first grade fullback. So it's good to see the Hammer out there and scoring really good tries. The guy just cannot find a way away from that try line. He loves it. So it's great to see. I think like a big underrated signing for him this year is someone like a Tommy Gilbert. I thought Tom Gilbert was fucking awesome in this game, and he's been awesome for them for the last how many weeks. He's been so good in the middle, gritty. Just a player that Wayne Bennett loves to have. Ray Stone, all that sort of stuff. I see Ray Stone's going to be starting in the front row this week, so hopefully they go well there. Unfortunately, Herman Ese is starting off the bench this week. I don't know if that's just more of a strategic sort of play there from Wayne Bennett, but I thought Ray Stone's been fucking awesome. Herman Ese has been very, very good. So just across the park, and have a young bloke, Isaiah Katoa, not looking like he's out of depth at the moment. Very, very good signs there. And with the Rabbits, so smashing the Doggies last week, 50-16. Didn't have the best game overall, even though the scoreline said they had a fucking cracker. I thought probably about 40 minutes, 50 minutes of this game, they were really on it. A lot of it did come from the sim binnings and all that sort of stuff, where they just ran in a shitload of tries for the sim binnings. Pretty unfortunate with the Preston one, but that is what it is. Latrell having a day out. Latrell's starting to find his form now. That left side attack's going to be very, very strong for him, especially when you see players like Branko Lee and all that sort of stuff can make some odd decisions in defense. They got Robert Jennings, who's a very, very experienced winger on that wing though, so that'll probably help the Dolphins out a little bit more. But after the last couple of weeks, you got Cody Walker killing it. Campbell Graham's having a season to remember at the moment. He's been so good. I've always remembered Campbell Graham to be a very good center. Possibly could be a very good winger for Origin. That's a lot of talk going on at the moment, but he's having a great season. I think that's due to more Ilias and Cody really coming together now, and their connections with Cookie and all that sort of stuff. They're becoming a very balanced attack. So very dangerous when they bring it all together. The big in for them this week is obviously Jai Arrow. A bit weird having him in the front row, but I feel like, again, teeing up against someone like a Ray Stone, the Dolphins front row isn't as big either. So it could be a very interesting matchup in the middle there. Both guys love to get into the dirt of the game. So Jai Arrow versus Ray Stone is going to be an awesome matchup to watch in the middle. I'm going to go the Rabbits. I just think the Rabbits attack probably will be just too strong, but knowing Wayne Bennett team's probably going to be around that 1-12 mark, all that sort of stuff. But I am going Rabbits for my tip. Next game, we got the Sharkies versus the Roosters. The Sharkies coming off the bye, and they're bringing the Roosters at points. But we'll touch on the Sharkies back again. They're coming off the bye, off a very resilient Warriors side that end up stealing the game at the end of the game against the Sharkies the week before. Even though that happened, I thought that first half, the Sharkies attack was just fucking amazing. And I really do believe their game plan is so slick in attack. The way they attack their edges and halves, they're going to really be doing this against this Roosters team. I do believe that's the key to this beating the Roosters in this one, is obviously they're going to be attacking edges of like Sammy Walker and Kiri. And then obviously you got mate shift sort of back rollers there with Egan Butcher and Nat Butcher in those back row spots. So I do believe that the Sharkies are going to attack this and then maybe play short side plays and all that sort of stuff. I think what helps the Roosters there is they've got a very good defender, Joseph Manu, on one side. I do believe they're going to be attacking Suli'i's side with him and Daniel Tupou. But it could go either way, obviously. The Sharkies can attack either way. It's just the way they set up their backline sets, where they are pump on opposite sides, edge back roll to half, and then they have either a big open side shift, or Nico Hines just loves that little short side play too if he builds numbers on that side. So do watch out for that. I'm excited to see, obviously, Nico Hines go around for another run. And with the Roosters, obviously a very disappointing week last week, going down to the Melbourne Storm, 28 to 8. Fuck, I can't talk at the moment. But yeah, kind of very disappointing game here. They just could not click into gear. It's sort of like, you know, watching a lot of like the rugby league guru on like Bloke in a Bar, all those boys talking about like how they just maybe need to simplify their game plan. I do mostly agree, but also they got some big ins this week. I think that Matt Lodge is moved onto this bench here, so Matt Lodge is definitely going to be a big in through the middle. They do need a whole lot of help in the middle, but if they played like they played last week, where they were just dominant through the middle and then make their big shift plays and all that sort of stuff, that's going to be a big plus for them. Obviously, Teddy is a massive in as well, so that would be good to see him go for another trip around. Hopefully, he's doing okay with all that concussion stuff. From everything I hear, he's doing okay. So I'm going to go to Sharkies in this one. I think the Sharks are just going to be too strong. I do believe it's going to be a close game and all that sort of stuff, but I just think these Sharkies attack, if they get really humming, I really think that they can be very, very hard to stop. So I'm going the Sharkies, unfortunately. I think the Roosters do better than last week. Obviously, with the Trent Robinson team, they're not going to go double really bad, but I think the Sharkies is just going to be too strong. Next up, we got Manly versus Storm at 4 Pines Park at Brookie. So this is going to be a really crazy game, a cracker of a game. I'm really excited for this one. Touching on the Storm first off, coming off a big win against the Roosters last week, 28-8. Obviously, we just spoke about it before, but amazing performance from all the big guns in that team. And everyone else is just standing up with them. So Munster and all that sort of stuff. Munster is going to fullback this week by the looks of it. Obviously, Nick Meaney's finishing up with some concussions last week and could not play this week. So that's pretty unfortunate, especially after last week. I think that was the best Nick Meaney game I've ever seen. And he's always been like a very average, above average player. He could just fill in a spot. Last week, he just looked awesome. Like he looked like he was playing that fullback spot for years and years. And man, yeah, just awesome to see him actually play a really, really good game, because I feel like he's just one of those guys that battles every sort of week. He seems to be the guy that everyone just says he's just a plug and play. As I just said before, I believe that as well. He just showed last week he's got some really good potential out back there. But there is sort of video coming out with Papenhuyzen moving around, all that sort of stuff. So hopefully Papenhuyzen's not too far off. Nick Meaney will probably be back next week, but seeing Munster at fullback is going to be very interesting. And Jonah Pezzett, who's been playing very, very good the last couple of weeks when he's filling that spot. So I'm really excited to see how he goes in this one. With Manly, obviously a very disappointing loss last week against the Panthers, 44-12. Having their big gun of Ruben Garrett go down pretty early, and then Tommy Turbo having back spasms didn't really help. No Schuster last week, which really hurt him as well. Like Schuster's been out with his core quad or whatever's been going on. It's come out to be a quad strain. Listen to that NRL Physio. Go check that bloke out. He's fucking amazing with all his content. He should be back for this one. He is named in the reserves, which is making me a little bit irk. Like, I don't know what's going on there. So, at the moment, Cooper Johns is named in that 6 role. I do hope they see Schuster in that 6 role. If Schuster comes back, I really do sway more so to the Manly side in this one. Just Manly at home. I think Tommy will overcome these back spasms and maybe just get through a game. And like, listen to NRL Physio. This could be like something he holds on for a couple of weeks, but it could not be. It could also be a sign of maybe hamstring stuff or all that sort of stuff. But, you know, you never know. So I'm very optimistic. I think that Manly, if they get their full strength team on the field, I reckon they're going to be very hard to stop. Obviously, defensively is where they're really struggling at the moment. And I'm not too sure how they really fix that. I feel like on their edges, they really get stripped apart quite well. And I don't think Schuster really helps that. I've seen Schuster make some very silly defensive decisions in recent times. So, but I just think with the attacking upside of Schuster, he just helps fucking immensely. So in this one, I am actually going the Manly Seagulls. I think they're going to win it maybe on a 1 or 12 sort of thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just get their attack up and they just really roll through the Storm. But the Storm's team this week is looking very, very nice. Obviously, getting Justin Olam. They got Remus Smith, Cam Munster out back. Yeah, just really, really strong lineup. Yeah, I'm going to go Manly. Next up, we got the Wires bringing on the Cowboys over to Mount Smart. And this one, I'm a bit worried either way, but we'll touch on the Wires to start with. If you haven't seen my Wire Talk videos that I do mostly every week, I try to touch on my Warriors team and how they're going, obviously being my favorite team in the competition. We need to clean up our discipline. Our slow starts are a problem, but I feel like a lot of it comes from ill discipline, not creating pressure early on in the game. And then that's really showing in our defensive efforts on our try line. Other than that, our defensive efforts aren't too bad within like middle of the field and all that sort of stuff. It's more so when we get on our try line and there's just repeat efforts on our try line. The Sharkies stripped us apart last week. the week before, and then the Knights did very well against us last week. But again, as I said in my White Talker video, they had 2 tries off broken kicks. That makes me a bit more confident the way the boys defended last week comparatively to the last couple of weeks. But Pompey has been very indecisive sometimes. Villiers has that problem as well. But I'm very confident of the boys. I feel like this year they've been very, very good for the team that we put on paper. Andrew Webster has been fucking amazing, especially with all the big boys we've had out. Our depth is really getting tested, and I feel like the boys are actually standing up very well with all our depth that we have out. So Tohu Harris comes back into this lineup. He definitely helps out the team quite a bit here. Dylan Walker playing at 6. I'm not too sure on that. I thought Vonkwin was going to fill on that spot, but then again, I can definitely see why we went there. I just would have rather had Dylan Walker be with that very strike through the middle. Like, usually we go, 30 minutes in, we shift on Jazzy and Dylan Walker, and it really helps out our middle with our footwork and all that sort of stuff. But I'm curious to see how we go with this lineup. I do believe the boys are going to do very well. Like, I think they're going to hold in this contest here. It's just more worrying about how the Cowboys are going to turn out, because I'll touch on the Cowboys now, coming off a disappointing loss against the Dolphins. I just think this team is way too classy to be performing like this. I'm just waiting for the week they're going to turn it on. And it just feels like that Warriors always get these bounce back games where we're going to have to contend with teams that are, obviously the Roosters bounced back off the Dolphins loss. They won against us. We made it a tough competition, but still they won off us. Yeah, I feel like we're coming up against these teams where they want to get a win. Luckily, we're bringing them to Mount Smart. I'm very excited to see how we go again at Mount Smart. Hopefully we make that a fortress this year, which I do expect. But just the Cowboys, man, that just top to bottom, like Scotty Drinkwater, Cole Felt, Valentine Holmes, Peter Hiku, Murray Talangi, Tom Dearden, Chad Townsend. That back line is fucking amazing. In the front row and all that sort of stuff, and their forwards, that's where they're sort of lacking a little bit. But then again, they're bringing back Jeremiah Nanai this week. Tamalolo's still there, obviously. Ruben Cotter, Reece Robson. A lot of these boys haven't been in form lately, but man, I could just see this happening again. I could see them clicking in the gear. I just hope it's next week and not this week on us, unfortunately. So definitely players to watch out for is Scotty Drinkwater and his connection with the spine of Tommy Dearden and Chatty Townsend. We saw that in the first game of the season against the Raiders. That worries me a little bit, but I'm confident in the boys. We're bringing it into New Zealand. I'm going to go the Warriors. You know what I mean? I just got to go the Warriors. I got to go with my heart. I could understand everyone going for the Cowboys though. Next game, we got the Knights versus the Panthers, and this is at McDonald Jones Stadium. I'm going to touch on the Knights to start with. A very gritty win last week over a very resilient Warriors team. Honestly, the Warriors just weren't getting out of this contest. It just momentum shift after momentum shift, and even when losing Jaden Brayley, they finished the game very strong with Kurt Mann at that 14 spot. So very good job there. Jaden Brayley has come out that he's going to get an ACL. It was an ACL injury that he suffered in that last game. Fuck, I can't talk at the moment, but hopefully he's doing okay. I think he's going to be out for the year by the looks of it, which is very unfortunate. They got Phoenix Crossland filling in that spot there too. And then we just know that obviously Kurt Mann can fill in that spot as well, but it's just long term that really worries me there for the Knights. They're very low on hooker cover there. Key players for the Knights lately though, Leo Thompson's been fucking awesome. I thought last game he was fucking amazing. He's been amazing for the last couple of weeks. When you got boys like Jacko Hastings, Tyson Frizzell, Lockie Miller's been in the contest all the time. Like they're just bringing this whole like it's a steel city. Like this is what the Knights always wanted. I feel like their resilience is showing through in their contest, but this matchup is just on a different level. So we'll touch on the Panthers coming off a massive win last week, 44-12, where they're just clicking in the gear. Such a clinical performance. They are just rolling through the middle, even without Fisher Harris and all that. And just, oh man, just with their strike players of Dylan Edwards, you got Cleary, you got Luai, you got Tungo, you got, bro, Taruva's been killing it. You got To'o's been killing it. Stephen Crichton, just, this team is a fucking menace of a side. There's not really much else I can really touch on here with the everyone knows the Panthers are good. Sonny Luke is great to see him out there for a 54-minute stint last game. 2 try assists, just adds so much spark in the middle. He's fucking awesome to watch. So I'm going to go the Panthers. I think the Panthers will probably do a number on the Knights, but I wouldn't be too disappointed on the Knights there. I think the Knights will probably hold in for a decent chunk of the game. I just feel like the Panthers will blow it out late. Unfortunately, just the Panthers are going to be a very hard team to stop, and I think everyone expects that this year. Massive game for the Queenslanders out here. We got the Titans versus the Broncos, and man, this is at Seabus Stadium. I'm going to touch on the Titans first. I feel like they've been very, very good the last couple of weeks. Got a gritty win last week over the Dragons, 20-18, in a contest that you don't usually see the Titans win. Usually the Titans will blow teams out and then bring teams back and then blow them out again. This time, defensively, they did very well against the Dragons. That actually, attacking-wise, I didn't think they looked too bad. They had really nice offloads there. It was good to see players. I'll touch on the Dragons a little bit later on, but honestly, I just give them credit to the Titans. They gritted back into this contest and they played so well. Tino and Fafita just pay for themselves. They've both been amazing. I think Fafita, this is one of his most complete games I've seen Fafita play. With Foreign back this week, I just think he goes to a whole new level, and I think that side is going to be very, very good to watch this week. Toby Sexton was so good to watch back in his comeback game. He was fucking awesome. I want to touch on Tino again just quickly. Like, Tino, in every sort of part of the contest, you just see him pop up everywhere. I think in that Benny Hunt try, even though he scored that try, you just see one of the first that want to make that cover tackle is Tino, and this is what the type of guy he brings. Like, this is the type of character he brings to this team, and he's really helping changing this culture at the Gold Coast Titans. So big credit to him. And Philip Sammy, what a fucking game from this guy. He was breaking tackles left, right, and center. Scored a try. He was fucking awesome. So great to see Philip Sammy, who's a very underrated player in my opinion, but now getting some sort of a crack in that Titans outfit is just great to see. As I said before, Kieran Foran back this week is a massive fucking in, and I feel like he helps him immensely. Jaden Campbell's been amazing to hold down that fullback spot with AJ out, and he's been fucking stellar out there too. So I thought that honestly their new recruit Lemming didn't look too bad over the weekend. He had some nice runs out of dummy half too, just shifted momentum back in their favor. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how they go against this Broncos team this week, who are coming off a disappointing loss. I may as well touch on that. The Broncos, disappointing loss last week against the Raiders, 22-14, where they just got pretty much out enthused in the contest here. Then again, I didn't think the Broncos played like fucking like awful. I just felt like they just really look like a team that wants to score from every part of the park, where they can't get into this, like, you got to earn the right to play the footy, you know what I mean? So the way the Broncos usually play really well in the last like couple of weeks, well, I think this first game of the season really showed against the Panthers, where they rolled through the middle because they got one of the best forward packs in the competition. And then they play off the back of that. If they get within your 20 and 30 and they start playing football with Reece Walsh, like sweeping around everywhere and that, and then build the confidence and really like tune up the engines and stuff, when you get out by 20-0 on that, try to score from every part of the field. I don't give a fuck. But when you're getting into early games and that sort of stuff, I really feel like you just got to get into that contest first. You got to start getting into the contest, feel like the grunt of the game. And then when you're over the top, then start playing really good footy at the back of it. I think the Panthers, they're a team that are really good at that. They're clinical. They attack the middle early. They sap everyone in that team. And then when they go out by 30, that's when they start playing football like out the back, and they start to see very good slick plays. But I'm very excited for a couple of matchups this week, though. We got Jordan Ricky versus Dave Fafita. I think that's a fucking awesome matchup to watch. I tipped the way of Dave Fafita on this matchup, but then again, Ricky has been playing amazing the last couple of weeks. And the other one is Walshy versus Campbell, the battle of the young killer fullback. So I'm very excited to see that game there. So in this one, I am swaying the way of the Broncos. I think the Broncos may just pip it out, because I feel like going the C-Bus this year is actually going to be tough. I think the Titans are actually looking very resilient. I'm going to go the Broncos, though. I think the Broncos would just pull it out. Next game, we got the Raiders versus the Dragons, and I'll touch on the Dragons, start with the Dragons coming off of, I feel like, I don't know what to take of that loss. Like, it was down, but it wasn't like I saw spurts of a very good team there. It's just, at moments, they just fall away and their confidence get down. Obviously, I think it was just more credit on the Titans, the way they fought back in that contest, the way that they were using Fafita, and then next minute, Toby Sexton uses these decoy, was fucking stellar. Obviously, Benny Hunt had to cover on Fafita there, and just really, that show and go was the perfect play in that moment. But touching on like the positives of the Dragons, I thought Benny Hunt was a freak, as he is every week. I've seen Jackie Bird. Jackie Bird played an amazing game last weekend, just the offloads, and he's contribute through the middle. He's got good foot speed and all that sort of stuff. He just wanted to make things happen, which was really good to see. Jaden SOOO was really giving it to the Titans out there in defense. He really toes that line, and he's just, I love seeing that. Like, he just brings something to that team, and hopefully he can continue and stay off the sidelines and just stay on the field and just keep putting wax on people. Zachy Lomax had a great game last week too, I thought, even though missing the goal to maybe put him out by 6 or whatever, and would have possibly tied the game up and this and that. But I just thought he had a cracker game. The kick that he was just chasing on kicks. There was a kick there where Benny Hunt put it up, and he came from the other side of the field, took it. Just such a classy player there. So really excited to see him in this matchup here against the Raiders, where he's going to be up against either Tomoko or Croker. I think it's on Tomoko's side, if I'm thinking right. I think he's going to have a really good game in this one as well. Moving on to the Raiders, man, they just gritted out a performance against the best team in the comp, or not the best team in the comp, but one of the better teams in the comp. I thought Hutto Young was fucking awesome, just chirping all game. He loved it. He just brings this sort of energy to this Raiders team. Corey Horsburgh was fucking amazing in the middle. Shout out to Corey. He's amazing. A local boy from around where I'm at, and he's always been this guy that always just gets through the contest. He's gritty, but he's got these like slick little offloads that people don't understand. He's got some nice footwork too. He's just a really good player. I just hope that Ricky doesn't fucking ruin him with these rotations the way Ricky sort of does with a whole lot of boys. That would be unfortunate. Joe Tarpane coming back after. Congratulations to him. Like he got a new bub last weekend. So congratulations to Joe Tarpane. I feel like he's a massive in for him. And obviously Jackie Whiten is a massive in for him in this one. So I'm swaying away of the Raiders in this contest. Obviously at GIO at Canberra, it's going to be really cold down there. So yeah, I'm swaying the way of the Raiders. I think the Raiders will be just a little bit too strong for the Dragons, but I would like to see a really good Dragons performance in this one to try and keep it within 1 to 12. And quickly, the last game of the weekend, we got the Eels versus the Doggies at CommBank Stadium. I feel like this is going to be actually a very underrated game. I feel like the Doggies now with a whole lot of recruits back, they're going to be very, very strong in this matchup. But first off, touching on the Eels, they won last week, but I don't know really what to take of it. I think the first half, they were fucking awesome. Mitchell Moses was just putting that ball on a string. Just some of the plays they came up with. Him and Dylan Brown just have this connection. Add Gutho on top of it. I think their spine's always been fucking awesome, but for some reason, they just lag in the contest. And I don't know if I agree with the rotations of Hopgood and all that sort of stuff. I would have Maddo there. But then again, Bryce Cartwright had a really good game on the weekend. But again, I feel like I don't know what it is, man. This team just lags sometimes, and just I don't know what it is. When their spine looks like they play so well all the time, I'm not too sure. But moving on with the Doggies, they got a whole lot of recruits back this week. Obviously a massive loss last week, but a whole lot of recruits back. TPJ's back, RFM's back, KIKAU's back. No Fox, which is pretty unfortunate, but I feel like boosting that forward pack again. I think Tavita Pangai is going to be in for a massive game, first game back. Obviously, Junior Paulo is back to for the Eels, so he's going to be a massive in for the Eels in this one. But I actually wouldn't be very surprised if the Doggies get over the top of the Eels in this one. It really made me think, like, I feel like the Doggies going to be attacking that edge with Bryce Cartwright and Mitchell Moses with KIKAU. Really could see a good game out of Paul Alamonte and Burns on that side. If Fox was on that side too, I would be swaying even more to the Doggies, even though, like, I just felt like last week the Eels seemed to have this, like, they'll burst teams out and then they bring it back. It happened with the Sharks, like, what, a couple of weeks back there too. So I'm going to go with the Doggies. I think I'm going to tip the Doggies in this one. I think the Doggies are going to be good to bounce back. They're just bringing these sort of gritty performances. I'm excited for Jacob Preston. I'm excited for, you know, obviously Tavita Pangai Jr. I really want him to have a great game. He's going to be one I'm watching for Supercoach. He's always someone I'm watching around for Supercoach. So excited for the Doggies. Hopefully the Doggies go very well and bounce back in this one. I just feel like the Eels are maybe going to become a little bit complacent in this game. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to go to Doggies. Thank you so much for tuning in again, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Do make sure you comment down below your tips or your thoughts over the weekend. I really love a discussion, so make sure you comment down below. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the weekend of footy. Up the wires. Let's go.